Good evening, ma'am. I am Riddhi Nagar, and I'm from ITM Business School, Kharghar, and we are interning with the Dorai Foundation. So this is our 15 days social connect program, basically.
Yes,
So,
I do know about this, yeah, because the students have come to our area there in Turbhe. Yes,
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So we have with us today Miss Seema Sayed, and she's a manager at the Astha Parivar. So basically, this NGO, works for the empowerment of commercial sex workers. So we are glad to have you, ma'am, here.
thank you.
Our first question to you is, did you face any incidents or something that pushed you to join this foundation particularly?
Not actually. See, I have a background of journalism. I've done my mass media, and during those times, I was kind of doing these stories, feature writing for women and their issues. And then I came across this sex workers group. These were those days when the Bill Melinda Gates Foundation was here in India to work on the HIV prevention for the high risk groups and the marginalized population. And that's where I took one of these assignments of the with them, and then gradually, incidentally, got working with them more often, and then took up this position. So I was not the manager then, because the federation was not formed. The federation was an outcome of the HIV prevention program, which was Avahan funded, the Bill Melinda Gates Foundation funded, and this was part of the community mobilization aspect that they were working on, because the purpose of the project was to kind of have more sustainable um, activities, and finally the marginalized population, the high risk groups population, should take on these activities even if the funding stops or if they move out. So that's when we formed this federation of sex workers, and then I started working as a manager with the secretariat. So this federation of sex workers is of, by, and for, and it has a secretariat where I work as a manager. So yeah.
Ma'am, that's very nice to hear. Even, I have studied mass media for 2 years in my 11th and 12th.
That's nice. So yeah, from the background, with communication, and you get to see these, you want to have these human touch stories, and when you meet these women or these marginalized population, you kind of feel like giving more to them. So that's how you start working with them.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, we need to think, like, especially in India. So we need to work for that.
Very true. Very true.
So, ma'am, how did your perspective change, like, towards these women after joining this foundation?
See, when I started working, of course, like a layperson, nobody knows what these sex workers are. We've heard them or we've seen them in movies, and we know so much that we have a preconceived notion of these sex workers standing on streets with loud makeup, with the language that they use and calling out the clients. So initially, yes, of course, like any other person would know or try, and I had these assumptions of a sex worker. If I meet a sex worker, how she would look like. So with those, of course, that those images in my mind, I started working with them. But gradually, it changed, completely changed, because what I really, the first thing that I felt is they are human beings like us. They're there, maybe not everyone is by choice a sex worker. Most of them are either trafficked or pushed in the sex work industry, and for whatever reasons they are there, um, uh, uh, they are discriminated, they are stigmatized, they have a lot of these issues, but are compelled to take care of their families or their children. Most of these women are single mothers with so-called husbands or their lovers, whoever, who's pushed them into this, and they have to continue, not by choice. So the first thing when I met this sex workers was, they really said that we are not here for pleasure, it's a work for us. Like you work in an office, you are a 9 to 5, whatever office work you do, we are also workers. So we're nothing doing, whatever we're doing is not wrong. For them, this is nothing wrong, of course. So that notion really changed, because what we feel is that these women should not be sympathized or empathized even, because they don't need. They're there to have pleasure, they're there to have money, earn money. But when you closely start working with them, you really understand their issues. And there are a lot of these issues that we try and work for, but the list is endless. So for them, they don't live for themselves, they live for their families. So that has really changed. And that the the feeling of a person working for another person, it comes up very actively. You really feel that there's a lot to be done for these women. So
definitely, ma'am. Definitely, ma'am. And especially in India, women are known for living for their family more than for themselves. So, they leave no stone unturned to like earn bread and butter for their family. So, ma'am, there might be some crisis that they would have faced during this pandemic particularly.
So it has completely changed their lives. Things are coming back on track. After the lockdown, the restrictions were removed. But during these lockdown times, from March, when it was announced that the country would go under lockdown and there'll be restrictions with people traveling or work-wise, everything. So it changed everybody's life. Individually, even we have changed the way we work. For them, yes, it was an overnight decision that from tomorrow we'll not have any clients come in, and that means no food, no income, no food. They are these daily wage earners. They don't have a lot of savings like most of us have. They kind of every day earn, get money, and most of the money is sent back to their village for their children or their parents. And whatever they have is basically to just meet or have some food. But if no clients for a number of days, means no income and no food. So the crisis was huge for like any other migrant workers or any other daily wage workers. For them also, it was really very difficult times from then till now. Also because, with a lot of this physical distancing, and when we talk about hygiene and protection during the coronavirus, this population is so stigmatized and so discriminated that anything which has to be, which is related to, say, health or hygiene, this is a population which is, kept away. And people feel that if you go to these places, you are surely going to have some infection. So that way, even now, the clients have not started coming up very regularly. For these women also, it is difficult because if we are saying there's travel restrictions and they cannot go back to their village because there's no work. During these times, though, all of these lockdown period also, they were left with nothing. And the basic help that was provided was thankfully to through these organizations, and of course like Dorai Foundation and many of these corporates and individual donors who came forth to help them, was basically to have that basic need of ration food at least, so that that hunger is so important and they shouldn't be starving. These important things, these basic rations and everything was provided to them. So that's how all of this help towards the sex workers started during this corona.
Sounds good, ma'am, that perspective towards them in our country is changing and people are willing to help, even because they are also struggling in a way they are also struggling for their family and for their children. So it sounds so good.
Yes, Riddhi. I mean, the best of people have come forth to help them, irrespective of whatever the work they do. But everybody's helped so much. People felt that if the migrant workers can be helped, even these women can be helped. And we had to actually struggle to find a lot of this help. But once it started coming in, the flow was superb, and I really am thankful to everyone, every individual who really helped us during these times. Yeah.
Definitely, ma'am, because anyone who is struggling for their family, they must be helped by everyone's whole heart. So I appreciate this. Ma'am, since you are working with this foundation since 2011, so what are the skills or the hidden talents of these women that has surprised you?
Oh, See, one is these sex workers are the best entrepreneurs that I've seen. Okay, they are businesswomen. The client, an unknown person, it's more like those marketing skills that they have. An unknown person approaching them for a paid sex, and how, you know, there's a lot of competition between the sex workers also. And the best who can argue, or, you know, they can pitch, or they can negotiate, is what the skills I have seen. The other thing is also, you know, the skills, besides the marketing and all of that, they have a human touch, because they have faced so much individually. They have gone through such hardships that they never want others to come into it. So anybody who's forced into sex work, these women are ready to help them, if the person, if this that woman is willing to move out of the profession, only if she's willing to. Also, you know, all of these years work that we have done, we've kind of built up a bonding amongst them. So if there is a crisis, say in a brothel where there are like 7 to 8 sex workers staying together, and if there is a client who's drunk and is forcing upon a sex worker, not paying, or not using a condom, beating her up, there are these other women who will come to their help. So that bonding is very important, besides the competition that they have, ki ye mera client hai, wo tera client hai types. But during these times, they help each other. Also, during this lockdown time, what we've seen was, you know, women who had some savings, some money, they shelled out for others. Like the brothels which were closed, and the gharwalis, or these madams who just moved off, putting up a lock on the brothel, the women were left nowhere. And then there were other sex workers who gave them shelter, gave them food, try help their children also. So these, you know, these skills, I don't say these are skills, this is basic emotion that has come forth during these times. And, you know, like the general population, even amongst these sex workers, yeah, there are emotions. So these are the trying times that people, you know, want to help each other, and these are the best examples that I saw during these times.
Ma'am, definitely. After, you know, listening to you, I'm feeling that they are even more emotional and sensitive than what we are. So that is something to be learned from them.
Sure. And they're very good at communication. See, we are all unknown people, you know, when we go, and they are not easily, because people have, you know, played around in their life and have taken them for granted. But now they have learned so much from their experiences that they are not easy targets anymore. So they're very good with communication also. They know how to speak with whom, you know, if we go, we meet them, or any other outsider also coming to them, they know what to talk when. So that way, I really feel that they're very good at these skills also. So that's the reason I think they've survived all these years, after all the hardships and the pains that they face every day. They've survived for this long in this profession. It's, I mean, hats off to them, because sex work it's really torturing. When we see this, when we go out and meet them and see these clients behaving the way they do, it's really torturing for any woman, any girl, any lady going out and seeing this is, it's really difficult. But they have survived all through that. So that's
They are becoming bold day by day.
Yeah, they're becoming bold, they're becoming stronger, they're becoming empowered, is what
Yes,
day by
ma'am.
day. Yes.
So, ma'am, you know, there are many myths and misconceptions about this work that our society has. So, would you like to break these myths by saying just 1 or 2 lines?
See, one is, sex workers are human. Okay, so let's at least give them the respect that they deserve. They are citizens of this country. Some of them are also voters. Okay, so they have all the rights that any other citizen would have. They have their Aadhaar cards, they have their PAN cards, they have their voter IDs. So that means any social protection schemes, or any financial schemes, or anything that comes to a lay person, or any marginalized, or any below poverty line workers also, these are due for, you know, the sex workers also. And besides that, let's not discriminate them, kind of, because that way we are putting them, you know, they will go underground. And they are, one thing, they are not carriers of any virus. So they are not carriers of HIV always. They are not carriers of coronavirus always. It can be anyone. HIV can happen to anyone, coronavirus can happen to anyone. So they are not the ones who can be blamed for everything wrong that is happening in the society. And one is they have to be treated equally, is what I feel. So that is one important thing, that let's respect them as human beings and citizens of the country.
Definitely, ma'am. Every human being, like, being respected is the right of every human. So let's like, things should be changed in our country.
At least let's give them a quality life. If we cannot change their life, we cannot move them out of the sex work, because rehabilitation is not very practical. We've tried that, it's not always working. If we cannot move them out of the profession, at least what we can give them is dignity and the right to live, right to health, right to legal protection, and the right to social protection is what they need. And that is the least we can do for them.
Definitely, ma'am. Even I have learned, so many things from you right now, which I did not know about. Thank you so much for imparting such important insights. So, ma'am, one more question for you. Like, this new year, what changes you would want to see in the society?
Society at large? See, these are difficult times, very uncertain. What we've gone through last year in 2020, nobody had expected. Unexpected times ahead also. Till we have something concrete coming in terms of vaccine or medicines for this COVID-19. But there are difficult times. Let's, work together. Let's have a solidarity. Let's and a shared responsibility for the society. So we can together work for any of these marginalized, leave aside the sex workers. There are more such women out in the society who need helps, who needs help, who needs support. So as a larger society, if we can give, let's be the giver. Okay. And if we can if we can change life, even that one life changed is a big achievement for any individual. So that's what I feel. And I think people have already experienced this and people have realized this. And we have seen good examples in the last year. And hopefully this continues even now. So that's one thing I really feel I would want from 2021 also.
Thank you so much, ma'am. These were so useful insights, because no one knows, the deep truth of this particular profession. So that the session, like the interview, was very useful. Over to you, Saujanya ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hi, Lavika.
Hi, good evening, ma'am. It is such a pleasure to have you. It was
so sweet. Thank you. My pleasure.
Yeah. So as a representative of the Foundation, I, Saujanya Prasad, would like to express my heartfelt gratitude and really just honor that you've taken the time to talk with our interns. And I think it's really important that, like you mentioned at the beginning, it's work that they're doing. They're not doing something demeaning. It's work that they're doing. It's their profession. I think just that as an opener was fantastic. It's really important for all of us to remember that at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We all deserve a good and respectable lifestyle. And that we don't get from, that is not something that we should have to fight for. That should be something that we get. And I think it's really beautiful how you mentioned that, going ahead, the basic rights that everybody deserves is something that our women also deserve. They have come into this field because of circumstances. They have been pushed into this field. And the least we can do is understand them, respect them, and give them the courtesy that they deserve.
Sure. Yes. Thanks, Saujanya. Just one thing I would want to add here is, I'm sorry if I'm taking more time. That's one thing that, as group of organizations, as interns, as students, as younger population also, one more thing that we need to all work together is for the children of sex workers. We are trying to prevent them from coming into this profession. We don't want. Their
Of
mothers
course.
are here, for whatever reasons, but what we can do is prevent their children from coming into it.
Definitely.
So
Stop,
let's all
break the
together work,
cycle.
exactly, so that the cycle of poverty, we need to break
Right.
that. So
Definitely.
let's give that life, that good education that their children would need. And if we can all together work on those lines, I mean, that will be really great. There's one more thing that I want to add is the Supreme Court has very recently given the directives to all the state governments on providing free ration to these sex workers. And the
Right.
Human Rights Commission has also, considered them as informal workers, in the category
Right.
of
Right.
informal workers. So if the
Right.
sex
Right.
workers are considered as informal workers, then very gradually we'll start getting all of these benefits that are due for these informal workers also. So
Right.
these two things have really happened good during these times. People have realized
Definitely.
the difficulties that these women are facing and how we can together work. So these two things that really has been really helpful for all of these sex worker community. So yeah,
Right.
I should
Definitely.
be thankful to Dorai Foundation. The first donation that has come into, or the support that has come for the sex workers was from the Dorai Foundation, and we owe it to Sumitra ji and the Dorai Foundation. It's really been very helpful. We together worked. It was so exciting to work. Two different areas we were working. We just
Right.
connected phone call and these Zoom meetings, but what change it has brought, and that was really motivating for us also. And then that's how things worked. Every slot that we went into fitted properly. And
Right.
yes, grateful and thankful to Dorai Foundation also.
Not at all. I mean, we all need to come together. As you rightly said, we all need to come together to break the cycle. And when we're there for each other, the way that you mentioned that during COVID times, the women were there for each other. That's how they were able to survive the hard times. Similarly, all of us need to be there for each other as individuals, as organization, as a country, as a community, as human beings. So definitely, it's always a pleasure listening to you, working with you. GF will be definitely working with you in the future as well. And now ITM students are also here. We're recording this Zoom meeting, and this will be put on Dorai Foundation social media pages as well, so that more people can be made aware and sensitized. And hopefully that will create the ripples of change, and we will see more people trying to do the little bit that they can do. And that little bit sometimes is more than enough. So thank you so much for joining us. It was really inspiring.